Hello, everybody. It's working.
Oh, it is working?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Yay, finally. Okay, here we go. Hi, Sophia.
Hey, how you doing,
So,
Karen?
today we are here to talk about obstacles, writing a book. How many of you out there have really wanted to write a book? And for years and years, you're saying, oh, I got to write that book. It's so important to me. And yet experienced all of these obstacles or reasons for not getting the book done. So, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Sophia, is what obstacles do you see for, as a writing coach? What are people coming to you with? Why are they not getting their books done?
Yeah, well, there's some different kinds of obstacles. So the first group is really when people are just thinking about writing a book or trying to get into it, trying to get into writing, and they're not quite there yet. So what I see really keeps them from writing are these four things. The first is that they're not entirely sure what book they're writing. And that's the kind of case where it's really good to get somebody to help talk it out with you and somebody who understands what kind of books are out there and can help draw you out, like me or Karen. I'm
Did
sure
you ever
either one of
find
them.
did you ever find that people come to you and saying, I have like 10 different subjects I want to be writing about and I don't know which one to choose?
Yeah, it's true. And even two, even if it's only two, people can get so hung up on which to write that they don't write either. They could probably have written both in the time
Right.
that it takes to decide which one. So, but that's why it can be helpful to get someone outside of the situation to look at it. Because if you're just, you could spend years just trying to decide if you're by yourself. The second one I have is makes me sad because I used to even think this too, which is that they're not really sure that they're a good enough writer. You know, people have a lot of doubts about if they know how to spell right or if their grammar is very good. They kind of, a lot of people think that they're really more of a talker, or somebody has said like, "Oh, well, you're not a writer, you can't spell," or and criticize them and the way that they write. And I think that that is not a reason to not write a book because that's why we have editors. We have people who that's their job is to go fix all those things for you. And actually, being a writer doesn't mean that you need to know how to spell or do perfect grammar. And actually, it's just about creating words, and that's all. Yeah. And you don't have to do this alone. Again, there's other people who can help you. So that's the second one. The third one is really more general. It's like who am I to write this book? You know, especially if somebody's a healer, a coach, a consultant, an entrepreneur, and this book might really help support their business, might show people they have an expertise or they're an expert. Or any other person, but especially if it's like you're kind of standing up and saying, I have something to teach, I have something to offer, I know a little something that somebody could pay for, or I could help them. And that's the hardest thing for somebody to really own. It's almost like we have this imposter syndrome
Mhm.
thing going on that like we're afraid someone's going to be like call us out as a fraud or you don't really know anything. Why'd I waste time reading your book?
That's really a very key thing that you said, that a
Yeah.
lot of people don't have enough confidence or a mindset about themselves to say, yes, I really have something to offer, to a lot of people, and I can really help a lot of people. I don't need to be famous to the world. I know a lot of things. I have empathy, and I've had some success with my business and my coaching or whatever it is. And so I would like to write this down. And once you write things down, you definitely become much more of an authority. You are seen as an authority, and having someone with more credibility than you do if you just, talk all day.
It says something, to have a book published or to have writing completed, and you reach so many more people outside of your sphere, then even more people start to see you as an authority. And I think we all tend to judge ourselves a little smaller than other people see us, and to say, well, oh, that was no big deal. I did this thing, or this different thing happened to me, like, oh, it was just some car crash, or everybody gets cancer, or whatever. You can really diminish some really key experiences and learning experiences and accreditations and things that you've been through. Most people don't, it's only a percentage of the country in America that goes to college, an undergraduate, let alone masters. It's only a small percentage of the country that goes out of the country to a foreign place. So think about, like, all the experiences that you've had that not everyone on this planet has had yet.
We do
or may
seem
ever
to
have.
under evaluate, as you say, our gifts. So for
Yeah.
me, I've been steeped in the world of publishing for over 30 years. And to me, what comes naturally, and publishing speak, and putting together books, and all of that just comes helping people getting their message clear.
Yeah.
Just comes naturally to me. And for a long time, I couldn't figure out, well, everybody can do what I do.
Oh.
That's what I thought, but that's really not the case. And I think we have this tendency to under evaluate what becomes so natural to us because it's so easy is really hard and complicated for most of the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was a good example. And it also brings to mind to me this concept I have, that when someone's really an expert at something, they're able to simplify it to such a degree that it seems a lot easier. Like Marie Kondo is an expert in organization. Her method is very simple. That's because she took something that is complicated to other people and broke it down into a system and made it simple.
Oh,
It
I need
wasn't
that.
always that way. Oh, it's great. I love her show. But it's like an expert can make things simple. So don't judge what you have if
Right.
it seems easy to you, or it seems simple to you, or it seems obvious to you, because you got to a point of it being that way, or you have a gift for that, and that is why it's simple, and simple sells. I mean, people like simple solutions.
People do want simple solutions. And that's why writing a short book, outlining maybe what your system is and what your methodology is, for nonfiction, is the perfect way to get your knowledge and your authority out, and your credibility, to help you find speaking engagements, to help you become more credible, and become a rock star in your industry.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, so you got to believe in yourself and give yourself the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And who are you not to write your book? And we were also talking, me and Karen, just now, about how a lot of people really are worried about what other people are going to think. And this is kind of connected but different. And you might have concerns about, well, I don't want to put this in a book because people in my career field, or my family, or my friend circle, or somebody down the line is going to have some kind of problem with what I write. And this can really get into your head to the point that you never actually write anything down. And I will say that I do believe that the best thing to do is to focus on who are you writing to, and to trust that in the editing process, when you look at everything that you've created, and you can really evaluate, is there some mention of a person I need to omit, that's their business, I shouldn't include in this book, or is this going to be inappropriate for my material? But in the end, there are people you want to help. And I think, Karen, you had a really good way of putting this, right? With the people concerned about, like, they said a lot of holistic healers are
Oh,
concerned.
right. So I had an example of someone, right. She was medically trained, but she also utilizes holistic methodologies and alternative medicines, and herbals and remote healing, and all of that. And, she's been wanting to write this book that will help tens of thousands of people, really. In terms, she's not telling anybody don't go to a doctor, but she's also offering her expertise. And she has a very, very successful practice. But there has been a block because she's so scared of criticism of what the Western medical community might think. And yet she is an unbelievably successful, doctor. But we all have this little voice, and sometimes it's a big voice inside of our head that
Mhm.
says, I'm not good enough, or people will criticize me. And you know what? When people start criticizing you or giving you a hard time, that means you're on the right track.
I agree.
It means like you're a big deal, that
Yeah.
people think they should be criticizing you because maybe they're jealous, maybe you have a great idea and they can't do what you can do, but they're paying attention, and I think that's awesome.
It's so true. I love that. It shows that you're on the right track. Yeah. And you can't allow other people to live your life for you.
Right.
You really have to think about um, what is the best thing for you and your career and the people that you're really here to be of service to, and
Perfect.
to put those things first, the reason why you're here on the planet first.
Perfect.
And then again, you can always edit your book, you can always read it over and ponder it. But if you don't ever write the book, then it's gonna be sad for all those people who are missing out on it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So once you've you've gotten over some of these obstacles, you decide you do know the topic that you want to write about,
Hmm.
your mindset, you're ready to go. What are some of the other excuses that you hear for not getting the book done?
Okay, cool. All right. So we're ready to write. We've got our project. We're out of our head about all these things. And now what happens? So now there's like a whole new group of problems that I see. The biggest one is people are waiting for the right time. They don't want to start because they're like, well, I'm going to go on vacation in a couple of months, or, I'm about to retire, or there's something. First off, I want to say that waiting for a vacation or an endless expanse of time where you're on a tropical island and you're in a lovely lounge chair and you have a little funky drink with you. Like that sounds really great, but I don't really hear of that working for anyone. Um, I was in a position, honestly, where I had a lot of financial support and I had a lot of time to do writing. And what I found is there's always a way to do it later. If you have endless time, then you can do it later. You can always do it later. And then right now the weather's nice. I want to go outside. I want to go swimming. Somebody's got breakfast. Oh, it's lunchtime. Oh, it's dinner time. Oh, I'm sleepy. I need to nap. Oh, it looks really lovely under this tree. There's always something to enjoy. But when you don't have an endless amount of time, you recognize, hey, I better do this now because there may not be an opportunity for several days if I do not push through and just do it. So I found, honestly, when I went to grad school and I had a very limited schedule and a lot of other writing to do, I found I was way more productive on my own projects because it was like I have this 2 hour period and I won't see another one of those for a week, So that was like very motivating. So it's a lie that if you have endless time, you're going to be more productive. I just don't buy it. I don't hear that from anyone that it actually worked. It's a great idea.
No,
So
I agree. And as you know me, and not everybody knows my personal story, but one of the
mm,
real reasons that I wanted to join with you to help people over these obstacles is because of
yes.
my story. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer 10 years ago, and
Yeah.
um, but uh, but regardless, it really changed my life. It completely transformed my life, and I realized that we don't have all the time in the world. We just don't. And, your life can change in an instant. You can be in a car accident. A loved one can get cancer, and then you become a caregiver. You don't know what's going to happen to you. And so it's my urgent message and it's my purpose to help people get their message out before it's too late. And that's a key reason why I'm really happy we're doing this, because I know you feel the same way. We want to help people unblock themselves and really get to write that book they know that they've been wanting to write for years.
Yes. I love that story. It resonates so much. and we don't have all the time in the world. I have
Yeah.
now outlived my mom. I'm only 31, but she passed away very suddenly, and
Wow.
you just don't know. And I would always rather at least have a document on my computer with these words in it, something, because then there's something left over for me forever. So
Yeah.
you got to make the time. And but I do say there are exceptions. I mean, if you're really in physically sick, or you're canceling everything else in your life because you just are so limited in your capacity to do anything, of course, no, that's not a good time to write your book. But for most people in most situations, you probably can fit it in. It's just, do you really want to see this done? And do you really want to see
Right.
this
And
done?
really just, finding help and getting a systematic way and a systematic order, which we're going to talk
Yes.
about later when we describe the course of, of it's not just left to willy-nilly, it's left to a very specific methodology of how to actually get your book done. So
Yeah.
so what are some of the other ways like people are not they don't feel inspired? Talk more about that.
Yes, yeah. So you're really starting to pull on the thread that I see. So people aren't inspired, so then they don't sit down and then they don't write because they're thinking, oh well, there were other days when I felt really inspired to start this project, and that's why I got into this. And then it started to fade, and then I'm just not really, or I hit a challenging part of the process, and I'm not really inspired. I don't have the idea I need. I don't know what I'm going to do with this section, and so they don't do anything. And I just really feel like people don't really have the education they need about what this process is really necessitates, what it really requires, what it really needs, because they think they have to have this idea before they ever sit down, and that's just not true. You get ideas by engaging the process, or you hire somebody to help you with that challenge, and you don't need to have it all figured out in your head before you write. That's just not always going to be the case. So
And in
there's
fact, they always say the best laid plans. So it's probably a good idea not to have the
yeah.
whole thing in your head. You get an idea, ask yourself what you're passionate about. What is the reason you want to write this book? Is it, and don't say it's about making money because then you're in the wrong industry. This
Mhm.
really, and you can make money with your book, but you want to have, there are other reasons. And, if you have a live course or a coaching course or coaching program, all of those things. You want a speaking career, all of those things. That's why you actually need a book. And so,
Mm.
you know, think about those dreams. You
Yes.
want to see yourself as a keynote speaker, somewhere on a stage with 500 people, but you really need a book to get that to get those bookings. So, think about
Right.
what's in your dreams, what actually does inspire you. Do you want to leave a legacy for your children? um, do you want to lay out your 10-step program that you think is going to transform somebody's world? That's for me very inspiring.
Yes, amen. I love it. Yes, yes. So you got to think about why, and to have it be juicy and exciting and compelling, and like Karen was saying, part of that can be making money so that some of those dreams can happen, but do it by adding value to people's lives. You can make a lot of money by adding a lot of value to people's lives. And what does that look like? Is that improving their health, or helping them to be more relaxed and less anxious, or more organized in their house, or whatever it is that you can help somebody with? That adding value and making an impact can lead to making money, and then you can go on vacation with your family and your
Yay.
grandkids, or whatever it is for you that is so compelling. But you know make that alive for you, and then tap into
Right.
that why and that vision when you're not inspired, and then use that as fire and juice to sit your butt down into that chair. And then our course teaches different things that you can do on those days when you're not really sure what to do with your writing, and there's things that you should be doing that no one ever taught you, and that you can be doing. So there shouldn't ever be an excuse of not writing because you're not inspired. That
Right.
shouldn't be the reason.
Right. And then what about when people stop and start? They're not consistent
Yeah.
in writing.
Yes, stopping and starting. It could be for the reasons I described or for another reason, but like you said earlier, Karen, a lot of people just don't have a system in place to help them to do it. And as soon as I say system, I feel like there's this part of me that cringes, like, because what a lot of people think of is like work and it's going to be hard. And we have this system of beating ourselves up as a way to motivate ourselves a lot of times, or to kind of be like punishing ourselves inside that, like, okay, well, I didn't write, so I must not be very good at this, or I'm not going to finish this, or I'm not a good writer, or I would be writing and I can't write because I'm not, it becomes this endless cycle of negativity. And what we really need is to have a system that supports you, that is not about judging yourself, that is not about laying on the guilt, that is about being curious and wondering what is going to work better. How can I fit this in better? How can I make the time? How can I, wake up earlier, or whatever it is that you need, just going to be different than anybody else. And it's going to be different, sometimes week to week or month to month. So you need a way where you don't just throw everything out the window as soon as a hurdle in your life comes up, but you're able to dance and be nimble and make sure that this consistently is going forward and not in drips and drops, and is not here today, gone tomorrow, back again in 3 months. And the cool thing about doing something like an 8-week course is that that's a really good reason to keep going for the whole duration of the 8 weeks. So at least there's that. But we do teach you a method that you can use again and again. So you always have a system.
Right. And that's a good life lesson
Absolutely.
as well, to learn that discipline. I have discovered, and it's a key to being a successful entrepreneur, is to be consistent and show up. That's
Yeah.
really 90%
Oh,
of being
wow. Yes.
successful. Just show up. And it's amazing what you will accomplish just by doing that.
I
So,
think I agree. So
right.
that's like, that's what I was saying. Like, expert tips can be simple. Like that right there. That was the
Amazing.
one.
Right. So,
Yes.
and then the last one is, you were talking about, oh my God, your writing is a mess, as
Yeah. So that's
most of
if you're
us.
lucky enough to really have gotten yourself to write and you produced a lot of stuff. That is a sign that you didn't have a clear outline. If you're reading your writing over and you're thinking, oh, I can never really, how am I going to share this with somebody? This is all over the place. I've got one section about this, one section about that. I've got a story here. And does that make sense to somebody else? I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of words, it's a lot of pages, but what do I do with this? And it's discouraging, and it means you don't have a completed result yet. But you need to have some clarity about what the finished result is going to look like, even though that might change. But you still need to have that understanding before you write, if you want it to save you a lot of time and headache, because the final result is so messy. It really is going to confuse your mind as to what to even do with it, and everyone else's too. So that's why we really spend a lot of time outlining in our course. And outlining is another thing that a lot of people don't like. I never liked it, but I think I wrote several manuscripts without an outline, and then
Oh boy,
I
you're
was
doomed.
committed. Yeah, I was committed to figuring out a way that was going to work for me, that was a little different. So that's why we teach a couple of different ways to do it, just in case one way you learned doesn't feel right to you.
Right. My methodology is a little bit different than yours. So we have a left
Yeah.
brain and a right brain way of
Yeah.
actually creating that outline, which makes it more fun. So
Yeah, I think it's good. So, and again, like, I think people think writing has to be one way, and it
it is
doesn't
not
have
cookie
to,
cutter.
but it's still not an excuse to skip it, because it's so beneficial to have that outline. And it's really great to have a sense that once you wrote something, you really feel like you can use it. You don't feel like you wrote all this stuff and it's not really a book, it's something else. So we want you to feel like
It's
at
yeah,
the
yeah,
end of 8 weeks, or whatever time you put into your writing, that you have something you can really share with people.
right. And it's essential to have your outline or mapping out your book, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
because that's your roadmap. And once you have that, it makes that the writing so much easier, because then you know the path to follow, the talking points you're going to have, all of or the story arc, whatever you want to call it. This
Yeah.
is what you know you're going to write about. And once you, that's the hard part, because you know your stuff, you know your personal story. If you're a coach or you know whoever, and you've got a system, you know your system, so
Yeah.
that's easy. So it's really figuring out how to put it all together so that it becomes a really, really interesting book. And that people, and it's not just a factual how to, you want people to get to know you, who you are. People only do business with people they like and they trust. And so a book is a very great way for people to get to know you personally, and they feel they get to know you and your methodology, and they do want, you know, the object is for them to get to trust you and want to learn more about you through this book.
Yeah, it's great. And it's important that you think before you leap in terms of what is the reader going to take away at the end of your book, and um, make sure that you're not losing the forest for the trees in terms of, is it clear in what I'm trying to teach them? Are the main points really clarified, and it's not an overwhelming amount of information? Like, you know, in the end of the day, this is going to have to go into someone else's brain. So if you just throw everything in the world at them, they might not really get it. And you want them to get something out of what you're saying. You have a message to share. So
Right.
that's that. It's a lot easier to figure that out when you're only looking at a few pages of an outline than having written 60, 70 pages and then trying to scratch your head and boil it down. It's a lot easier to do that
Very
before
much
you
so.
start.
Very much so. So I think we now can go into that part once you know, these
Yeah.
are some of the obstacles. You know, I can imagine that many of you who are viewing this can relate. Hopefully you're shaking your head going, yes, 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 I know that's.
Yeah.
So
I know.
now Sophia and I would like to share with you what our program is, what you will get week by week, and what the benefits are. So we're really excited. So
Yeah.
without further ado, I'll share my screen and hopefully find it.
Yeah. So excited.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, um, oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Here we
This is,
go.
yeah, here we go. Um,
Yeah.
so we're going to be we're going to be hosting this 8 weeks to published author. And Sophia will talk more about what you get in the 8 weeks. So, week one, you learn how to overcome the procrastination hurdle. We'll teach you how to make consistent progress, ending the starting and stopping writing cycle. So, Sophia, what's the procrastination hurdle? What is that?
Right. So the procrastination hurdle is what happens when people don't have that clarity on why they're really doing the book, or what the real point of the book is, and why it's so important, and why it really needs to be out there on people's shelves everywhere. And so you need to be motivated. You need to have that big vision to go back to when you're not inspired. And so that's the first thing we start with. So that way you always have your reason that you're here, and you never forget it. We can remind you, keep you excited about your book. And you'll learn other techniques so that way you can begin working on your project right away, even when there are days that you're not really, you're kind of off and you're not really inspired, or you don't know what to do. You'll have so many techniques so that way you don't ever stop and start. You're always going forward on your book.
Perfect. Week two, how to craft a clear outline to focus your writing goals.
Great. Yeah. So as we said, your story is something that really helps connect you to the reader so they know, like, and trust you, and that helps build a business relationship and also helps them hear your message of the book. So we start with that. You learn about the hero's journey. You clarify, what is your story? With all the life experiences you've had, where are you going to start in simplifying it so that way people don't, lose the forest for the trees here? So what are the most important things you're going to need to mention in your book, whether it's the intro, all throughout it, or in certain chapters? We got to hone your story and have it be in your outline. So you'll start the big vision of it in week two.
Great. Week three, how to draw your reader in with enticing headlines and a well-defined plan for your book's content. We'll evaluate the completed first draft of your outline.
Yeah, so this is exciting. So once you have that sense of the big idea of your book, you can start to get really specific so that you have a plan. So every time you sit and write, you know exactly what you need to do. The headlines are important because people flip through your book and they get excited about reading it. You want to draw them in. You don't want them to just stop and sit it down and then never come back to it. So Karen can help you to word that a certain way so that you do it the right way to keep people going. And each chapter should have some bullet points and some information so that you know what's in there.
I love that. Because people don't think about, the chapter headings and how I should word it. Should it be pithy? Should it be, it needs to be consistent and branded and maybe fun if that's appropriate for your book. So I love that.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun week, I think.
Yes, that definitely will be.
Yeah.
And week 4, refine your outline in order to begin. Yay, writing chapters 1 and 2.
Yeah, so one of the cool things about this class is that you get a lot of attention from me and Karen. So we're actually going to look at your outline and how you're doing. And if there's things that you're challenged by or things that we notice, we can give you feedback. Then you can take that, make some adjustments, and get going on chapters 1 and 2 and full speed ahead.
Beautiful. Week 5, how to develop a customized system tailored to you so that you can write your book to completion. We'll share our strategies on how to work through any challenges as you write chapters 3 and 4.
Right. So having gotten your feet wet in chapters 1 and 2, there might be some things that are challenging you about the writing process. As we mentioned, a lot of people stop and start because they don't have a system to support them. So in week 5, you learn how to make that system and how to tailor it to you and where you are in life, what's going on, what's challenging you. We're here to help you and give you those strategies to lock it down and get the writing going. And you'll keep going. You'll put it to use in chapters 3 and 4.
Right. And we'll be looking at chapters 1 and 2 and giving you some feedback on that. And you'll be writing your table of contents as well.
Right.
In weeks 6 through 8, don't get overwhelmed. So if you just follow our process step by step, we make you accountable. The group also will be very, very helpful in keeping all of us accountable and giving some feedback and just being supportive to where, the whole group will act as your cheerleaders. So the whole idea is that you will finish all 10 chapters, if that's how many you have, of your book by week 8.
Yeah, you've got to focus on exactly where you're at in each week. So we'll go through each chapter one by one, and we'll be here to answer any questions and help with the process, and also to help honor you and how great you're doing as you go. There's going to be a lot of other people in the class to share as well, and there's a group energy that builds. But yeah, we're just keeping it simple. So in those weeks, you've gotten all the tools, you've gotten everything you need to do, and you're just focusing on producing the chapters and getting feedback on them.
Great. And we're also going to have a private Facebook group for those of us who are taking this class. We are only really looking for maximum 10 people because we want to keep it very close. So we know this is going to go fast, and but we're looking to make sure Sophie and I can give you the customized attention that you deserve.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So you'll have the Facebook group. Every week we'll have a Zoom call. So that way you get the information for the week, and you can also check in and share and ask questions and things like that. And both me and Karen will be there. So you're getting a lot of individual attention as well as being able to connect with the other people in the group too.
Right. And we'll, while we want you to be there live, we will also record each session to make sure so you can have it as well to go back. And if you're not there, you can see it. If you are there, it's a great reference point as well, so that you can always have that and go back over the points and the strategies that we're sharing in the group that day.
Yeah, and even if you're not there, your questions might be useful to everybody in the group. So you can just let us know by email, and then we'll tell you in the class what our answers are.
Right. And we can post frequently asked questions, and you can post them in the Facebook group, and Sophia and I can answer them. And so it will be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So next steps, we want to tell you we are offering for the first 4 people who sign up, we're giving you an unbelievable deal. So it's the price of the course itself is normally $9.97, but for the first 4 people who sign up, you can have it for $4.97. So for 8 weeks and 2 personal coaches, I think that's a steal. I think it's a no-brainer. So, and the way you can do that is you can either email me at kbstrauss@straussconsultants.com or go to hybridglobalpublishing.com. There's a form you can fill out. Just say, you're all in, you want to go. So that's and if you have any further questions, you can email me at this email address or Sophia. And what's your email address, Sophia?
It's sophia@sophiawren.com, and I'll put it in the comments of this recording. And if you're interested, let me know. I'd be happy to jump on the phone with you and answer any questions you have. Or if, like we said, you can email us questions too. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm really excited. And I was saying to Karen that I feel like the value of this course is so great. I mean, we're offering a special price to the first 4 people, but even at our original price of $9.97, I feel like it's still worth at least twice that, if not multiple times that, because if you wanted to get your book done, but you didn't know how, so you decided to hire somebody else to write it, then that would probably cost you at least $5,000 for a ghostwriter. And then, or you could pay the price of not ever writing your book and missing out on all of those opportunities that it could help in your business or something like that. If you get it done now, you get to reap all the rewards for years and years and years. If you wait 5 years, you might get it done and think, why did I not do this before? Like this.
Exactly. It's not as hard as you think, particularly when you've got all the support around you. And if you can get this done in 8 weeks, you've got the rest of the year to capitalize on it. It's
yeah, have it for Christmas. You know what I mean? Like you'll have it out well before that, and you can, be giving it out as Christmas gifts, having other people give it out as Christmas
exactly.
gifts. I'm thinking way ahead here.
No, I agree. And, we'll help you get it published. And, so, we have all of that to offer, not just getting your book done if you want to explore self-publishing or publishing as, with me, we want to help you get this done and out to the world. We want to get your message out to the world.
Yeah. So, and by having it as a group, we're able to give you a really great price, because it probably would be a lot more expensive for you to hire both of us, and have 8 sessions with us each, and then have us review your writing work and be available in a Facebook group and things like that.
I could afford that.
What'd you say?
I said, I don't think I could afford that.
Yeah, it starts to get expensive. So because you have a group, you still get to have all this wonderful individual attention and support through the whole journey. And we can give so much more to the whole group than we could to every individual person, probably. So if budget is a problem for you, just really be aware of this is a really affordable option.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. Well, thank you, Sophia. That was a great chat.
Yeah.
Right. And again, let us know if you're interested. We would love to have you as part of our group. And we'll be seeing you soon.
Yes, reach out to us. Well, I'm going to leave my email in the comments, and Karen's give you yours, and reach out and sign up, and we'll see you soon.
Great. See you. Bye.